Welcome to our YouTube meditation time. And someone just wrote the links are still wonky. So I used a calendar link today, and that worked for me fine. So I don't know, maybe there are other places that it hasn't been fixed. So if some of you are trying other places to get a link to the YouTube, maybe you can put in the chat where you tried and where you found it not working. I can't really ask the people who haven't made it here, who are maybe kind of not finding a good link. So, but a little team of people have been working hard to try to figure out what's going on, and there's some idea that maybe something has changed at YouTube about settings, or something went wonky. So so welcome, and I believe there comes a time when it's useful to consider that meditation, Buddhist meditation, mindfulness meditation, it involves a very different paradigm, very different orientation or basis than how we ordinarily go about our lives. And not necessarily to dismiss or belittle how we go through our ordinary lives, the concerns and orientations we have, but to add to it a very different way of being, at least for a short time. Maybe it's as different as between being awake in our ordinary life, taking care of all kinds of things, and then sleeping. Both are needed, but you don't want to continue doing all the activities of daily life in your sleep. And that doesn't belittle what we do in life to sleep. It actually enhances them because it hopefully makes us refreshed for it. So the same way with meditation, it's something that's different than both the activities and usual ways the mind works, and it's also different than sleep. And so it's a third option, which is refreshing. It has its own tremendously valuable value. And so I'd like to offer you a perspective on this alternative way of being that meditation can offer. Ordinarily in our life, we can be concerned about something. Sometimes we're concerned about other people. Sometimes we're concerned about ourselves. Sometimes we're concerned about events and things and ideas and objects and experiences that we can have. The possibility in meditation is not to have the mind concerned about anything. And what I mean by concerned is that it's oriented towards something. It's picking something up. It's considering something. It's organizing its thoughts, its emotions, its attention around something that's we want to deal with or respond to or be involved in or not be involved in. And so and that's kind of often how the minds usually work. But to have an attention and awareness which is not concerned with anything, but alert and aware and receptive to what is, not concerned about it, not avoiding it, not shutting down from it, not distracted from it, but a certain activity of the mind has come to rest. And I'd like to offer some expressions that might represent these. We have a number of wonderful expressions in English that begin with the word open. A person can be open-handed, which means that they're not clinging and holding on to anything. There's an openness and willingness to share and be available to the world. Open-handed with their generosity. Open-minded. Open-minded means we're available and open to lots of perspectives, points of view, we're not holding on to any particular view or opinion and saying it's the best or the only one. We're receptive and able to take things in and to hear them and maybe even consider their truth, their possibilities. So to be open-minded to things. Open-hearted. The heart is open. It means it's receptive, it's available. But I think it also has a meaning that some of the best qualities of the heart have been revealed. So love and kindness and compassion and sensitivity and connectivity. And then we have kind of a modern Buddhist idea of open awareness. So open awareness that we are, and that awareness is not limited or contracted or fixated on anything. The awareness is available to all things. And all these have in common a sense of openness to possibility, openness to availability to what is. And in terms of not being about concerns about others, being concerned about oneself, being concerned about things and events, it's a kind of a pre-concerned state before we become concerned. What is awareness like? Before we become fixated or worried or start planning or wanting or not wanting. What is it like to be aware, openly open-minded? So that's kind of the suggestion for this meditation, is to explore this open way of being that is there before the mind gets involved in its concerns. And you will get involved in your concerns for this meditation, I'm sure. But look behind them, look underneath them, look before them, look between them, let go of them, to see what is there in this openness, vast openness of awareness, of attention. So, to gently close your eyes and let there be a gentling within. A gentling that includes relaxing the shoulders, and to soften the belly. Maybe softening the hands, relaxing the hands. They're a little more open. Fingers are not tight in any way. And letting the face relax. We talk about sometimes a face being an open face. There's an openness in the face. And a lot has to do with the muscles relaxed. And relaxing the thinking mind. Softening, gentling the energy of thinking, the intensity of thinking, the speed of thinking. And any tension associated with thinking. And sitting here with a global awareness of your body. Whatever global might mean for you, easy, relaxed awareness of the whole body in whatever way that is for you. Maybe just the torso or above the waist or anything. And then this way of being aware that's before concerns, before agendas, before judgments, and needing things to be a certain way or not be a certain way. See if you can let that be the way in which you now become aware of your body breathing. Being aware of the body breathing wherever it's easiest to be aware of breathing. Being aware in a way that's easy to be aware. Aware of the obvious. Before you have any concerns, or with relaxing the concerned mind, letting the concerns recede to the background. Open-minded, open-hearted, open-ended. Open awareness. Here, now. open-handed, open-hearted, open-minded, open, not limited by any concerns, not focused on any concerns, with awareness wider, more open, fuller than any concerns for self or others or anything. The unconcerned awareness. And then as we come to the end of this sitting, there's a different way of caring for the world where the heart is unconcerned, meaning it's unfocused or not worried, not preoccupied, not tense, not fixated on anything. But the heart, the mind, knows something about being deeply at ease. And with that ease, knowing that ease, wishing that for others, wishing others to have a kind of unconcerned happiness, unconcerned peace, unfixated freedom. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be peaceful. And may all beings be free. Thank you. So, happy to be here with you and to continue here on Wednesday with the topic of the day, which is action, compassionate action, and trying to offer some different perspectives on what we can do motivated by compassion. And so Monday was compassionate action for the sake of others. Yesterday was compassionate action for the sake of oneself, not distinct or separate from others, but in addition. So the compassionate action where we're both doing it for our own sake and for the sake of others, for the sake of others and for ourselves. So there's a mutuality, a fullness of care in all directions. And the suggestion is that compassion for others, caring for others, is richer, more valuable when we know how to do proper care, compassionate care for ourselves. We have more care, we have more love to give others when there's a kind of love here for ourselves. So today, I want to do the third form of action, or way of acting, and that is action that's for the sake of both self and others. And this is a category that the Buddha often uses, that in addition to kind of intentions for the welfare of oneself, of others, he also talks about the intention for the welfare of both self and others. And I understand this both self and other as being the we that exists between us, the kind of the nature and quality of the relatedness, the relationship that exists between us. And that's something that's distinct enough from the other person, from ourselves. It's kind of the dynamic, the chemistry, the the interaction, the quality of the interaction between two people. And so when we do compassionate action for others, what relationship does that establish between you? And this mostly focuses now on on compassionate action that you're doing in the presence of another person. If you send a check to support, um, orphanages in Uganda because you read about it in the newspaper, there's not that much of a relationship between the orphans in Uganda, but there is maybe. You are, in a sense, establishing some kind of relatedness that maybe is a little bit one-directed, but it's still a relatedness with suffering in Uganda, and there's a bigger kind of we that's operating here as well. And what is that? So, especially when we're doing something directly for ourselves, directly with someone else, and it's easy enough to do what we think is compassionate action, that we're kind of very strongly kind of imposing ourselves on the other person, or so focused on the other person that we're completely ignoring ourselves. And in ignoring ourselves, we also then ignore what's being established between us, because that involves both self and other, a relatedness. And I've known people who have done wonderfully compassionate things for others out of compassion, but there was no personal connection, even when it was one-on-one. It was kind of perfunctory, or it was kind of just like, yes, I want to help this person, and here's something you can have or do, or how you can be helped. But there's a kind of a distance. And some of that distance sometimes is when we hold ourselves apart, sometimes with the idea of pity or superiority, or here, let me help you who's so poor and miserable, and it's kind of looking down at people. And so the relationship then is not a healthy relationship. To be the one who has the power and the authority to do things, and the other person doesn't, and so then to be compassionate with our power and our authority to fix things for them or do things for them. But what it continues is the relationship of kind of a power dynamic. That's not really that healthy either, and it's not the best vehicle through which compassionate love can flow. Might still be helping people in a beneficial way, but the relationship is not necessarily such a wonderful relationship to have. And so, is it a relationship of mutual respect? Or is it a relationship of respect, even if it's not mutual, in one direction, which kind of changes the nature of the dynamic between the two people? Is there love? Is there friendship between them? Is friendship being offered? Are we contributing to a richer, more valuable relatedness between the two people? Or are we holding ourselves off at a distance, and are we kind of being one-sided, or are we not open to the relationship? We don't want to be open to the relationship. We don't want a relationship. We maybe give maybe some money to someone who's homeless, but we're afraid of the person, or we're aversive of the person. We don't really want to have any more contact. We want to help them, but we don't want any more contact because of all kinds of reasons. And so the relationship is one that is no relationship in a sense. And the importance of this relatedness in relationships is that the kindness, the friendliness, the mutuality that can exist in relationships, even with strangers, for many people is kind of like food for the heart. That human beings, for many people, not everyone, but many human beings, they're really kind of who we are as a person, how we live as a person, how we grow as a person, how we are happy as a person, has a lot to do with how we are in relationship to other people. A lot of our unhappiness is also how we're in relationship with people. And there's often a over-concern relatedness, over concern what people think, and am I going to be rejected? Am I going to be liked? And what can I do to have a good relationship? How do I get respect? How do I get love from other people? And there's a lot of concerned activity. And there is something we learn through meditation about being unconcerned, unworried, unopinionated, without neediness in the relationship, but open to establishing a healthy relationship between self and other. And the simplest healthy way is one of friendliness. We don't want to have a too high a bar that we're supposed to love everyone. That may be nothing, then that can be interfere. But just a simple friendliness, or maybe even more simple, maybe it's respect. To establish a level of respect in that relationship between you. Appreciation, attunement, and awareness. That people thrive in being listened to, in being seen clearly for who they are. And sometimes if we can see someone and stop and listen, lo and behold, that gives them the possibility of doing the same to us. And then what happens? The magic, the specialness that can happen between people, even total strangers, even seeing each other for 30 seconds, of being kind of open and to acknowledge, to see, and to know each other, where we meet with an open-mindedness, an open-heartedness, an open-handedness. And we see each other in that openness. We see each other in the richness and the fullness, without needing to define, without having needs, without having fears. So compassionate action, that where maybe the heart of the compassion, the thing that is most beneficial for everyone concerned, is not giving someone money, is not giving them food, not driving them to the doctor. That's the vehicle for some deeper movement of care and compassion that creates a richer, valuable connection, warmth, love between people. So what is the relatedness we're creating? What are we contributing to it? Take someone to the emergency, and they might remember that for a long time, but take someone to the emergency with real love and care and kindness and respect, and that might be what has a long-term benefit for them. That might even be greater than whatever the doctor does for them in the emergency. So, compassionate action for the sake of self and other is something to be concerned about when we do compassionate action, so that it becomes a more considered, more richer, there's more facets to what compassionate action is than the simple thing of doing something for someone else. And that's this idea of establishing this good relationship, or offering that, is why it's so important. The second thing we talked about yesterday, which is compassionate action, which is for the sake of oneself, meaning we take care of ourselves. We do it so that it nourishes us, it supports us, it liberates us, it opens us to love and care and respect for others. And then there's more richness possible in the relatedness between self and other. So compassionate action for the sake of self and other. So if you'd like, over the next 24 hours, to explore this in your life, daily life, no one needs to know you're doing this, but you might give some attention to notice when you're with other people, what's the quality of that relatedness? And what are you contributing to the quality of relatedness, relationship between you? And again, it doesn't have to be, dramatic. It doesn't have to be love. But is there something? What's the chemistry? What's the atmosphere? What's the dynamics that's been established between you and others, even strangers, like clerks in a store, or people standing in line or people you pass on the road. Is there a relationship? Or do you just walk down the road and ignore whoever's passing you by? Or are you available to smile or say hello and in a way that feels safe and appropriate? What is the relationship you have with the people? What kind of relationship established? And then if you do this exercise, it's very interesting to see how it shifts that relatedness in the course of a conversation or a time together. How the quality of conversation, that what we say and how we feel and what we convey to others, we can feel that the conversation opens, the conversation connects us more, or the conversation closes us and creates more distance. And we can sometimes see in other people that the effect of what we're talking about, that now they're pulling away a teeny bit, they feel more closed, they're turning away a little bit, looking out. Or now they're really opening up, they're present, they're delighted. And it can be very subtle energetics that shift and change. But what happens if you start noticing the dynamics of the relatedness? And how does that affect how you want to be compassionate, caring, helpful for other people? So thank you very much, and I look forward to continuing this tomorrow.